Hi, today I'd like to talk about building writers' confidence through writing workshops in a social studies context. The purpose being that students in high school, particularly students coming from 8th grade to ninth grade, struggle with writing not because they're not able, but rather because they're not confident in it. That they don't feel that their writing is good enough, and that they feel that they rather not do it versus learn. And so I want to talk about how to use writing workshops as a way to sort of build the confidence of the students and in turn allow them to feel comfortable with the writing, able to then take in feedback and able to approach the process of writing in a more constructive manner. Now, writing workshops can take place in various different forms, whether it's independent silent writing, such as a do now, or guided writing exercises, or even learning how to write, so looking at investigations and looking at the particular areas of how writing is done. In my classroom, I've used all three different forms, whether it's independent writing as a form of a do now, or guided writing as sort of asking them questions and how to develop outlines, or even investigating writing where we look at, for example, how to develop thesis statements or how to write, use quotations and use proper citation methods. Now, one of the things that most easily helps students become more confident in their writing is practice. I'm a firm believer of giving students opportunities to write in some form at least once a day, whether that is a do now at the beginning of class or a homework assignment, or even during class, we spend some time writing. At the same time, we also spend some time doing editing, being critical, or if it's taking feedback from the teacher like myself, or doing peer reviews, or even taking a step back and reading some of their work from previous writing sessions. I apologize for the lack of continuity, but moving on. I believe that giving students opportunities to practice, they're able to develop their own toolbox of writing mechanics and structures that make sense to them, whether it's a word choice, sentence structure, paragraph format, all of which is developed that in turn makes sense of their own writing skill. When I reflect on my own writing, I notice I tend to have similar patterns in my writing and that my sentence structure and variety doesn't differ from paragraph to paragraph. And I believe that giving students opportunities to practice those skills of writing and figuring out their own voice will help them develop their confidence and even their abilities to write in the future. Now, while I don't explicitly use the term writing workshops as found in Fountas and Pinnell, I definitely find myself using those very similar sort of structures to teach writing to my students. I definitely use those ideas of independent writing, guided, and investigations. For the most part, my time is often teaching independent writing, where I provide them with a prompt, and then I go over the prompt, and then I let them write, let them hash it out, let them word vomit essentially, before going back and giving opportunities to review it, to look at it, and to go from there. My belief is that by giving them opportunities to do this independent writing, the students find that they are able to get their ideas down on paper first, not to rely on asking extraneous questions on format, but rather just to practice the idea of putting ideas down first, and then able to go back and cut, revise, and edit, and see how they can change their answer or adapt it. Now, with guided writing, I typically give them, I provide them with a series of readings and quotes and ideas that I would like them to use in the writing exercise. And I usually have them do this in pairs or in groups where they sort of formulate what needs to go in a proper essay or answering the question. This is done using sort of DBQs or even just argument-based questions that once they answer these questions, they're then able to then combine all their answers to write. And then finally, with the investigations, one of the great ways that I find that teaching students how to write essays is to break down the essay components. What does it mean to write a thesis? What does it mean to use evidence? What does it mean to quote? And to spend day-by-day lessons to approach how those students can actively learn those skills and then apply them to their essays. By using these investigations, going in depth in answering students' questions, they're able to feel more confident in them putting all these pieces together in their own toolbox to sufficiently complete the exercise or the paper. Now, like I said, I don't use writing workshops explicitly, but I definitely believe that practicing every day and addressing one of those three forms of structured writing will help them learn how to write better inherently, while also providing them with instruction and feedback. I guide my students to inherently discover their own process in writing.